Hi guys, so maybe you want to add something to your beer, but the beer is under pressure. In this case, the beer is under pressure because it has been fermenting in the fermentosaurus and has been fermented under pressure. But this could also apply to a kegged beer, where you have already racked your beer to the keg and you have it under pressure, and you don't want to introduce any extra oxygen by opening the keg up and pour your whatever. It could be a tincture made of oak flakes and alcohol, or it could be some other seasoning, or in this case gelatin. So this is the beer. It's a lager, and as most, I think lagers should be clear, so I want to clear this with gelatin. So this is a Christmas lager. It's now looking very brown, but this has just been cooled down to 5 degrees, so it has had none really time to cold crash, but it's really murky. Otherwise, good looking. Tastes good already. Let's get back on the topic. Cheers. We want to put some sort of liquid in there. In this case, it's a liquid made up from gelatin and water. So we're going to start by doing that. Gelatin is a great way to clear up your beer. It's not complicated and it works wonders quickly. I've tried both these brands and this one works fine. I didn't like that brand, but as I said, the Doctor brand works just fine, and maybe some other brands I haven't tested, of course, but I won't be using this one anymore because I didn't like that. If you have read or seen people do this, I have read that you have to take up the liquid to a certain temperature and you can't go over a certain temperature or whatever. But as always, in my motto, question fucking everything, it works just fine without complicating it. So you don't have to microwave it in the oven for so many seconds and stir it, and so many seconds and stir it, and so many seconds. Just put a pot of boiling water on, get your gelatin ready, get a sanitized, I have some sanitizer, a Star San solution there. So I sanitized a glass jar. So, don't really know the amount, but let's take a teaspoon, something like that, and on top of that we will pour some water, about a deciliter. We should give that a stir, I think. I will sanitize a spoon. Maybe we could just shake it. It's a little bit dangerous with hot liquid, but I'm a bold one. Okay, let's stir it. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a while we build some stuff. So that's it. We can put that back in the sanitizer solution. Okay, let's get building. What we'll need today is 2 hose clamps, screwdriver, some Star San is always good to have on hand. I have my trusty soda maker here as well. Always good to have on hand. A PET bottle, sanitized. This is Ramlösa, Swedish carbonated water, gas line of any length, beer line, and one of these carbonation caps. I showed you this before. These are really cool. You can do so much stuff with them. I did the inline cleaner, which I'm gonna use. If you haven't watched that video, an easy build, it works like a charm. I'll put a link to that below. So the beer line, I cut the end in an angle, and I cut it to the length of the PET bottle. Okay, so this end goes on here like that, and the sharp end goes in the bottle like that. Okay, we will also need 2 fittings which fits your keg or whatever. I'm choosing gas line for this because gas line fits both the beer and the gas line, so this will be multi-purpose, because I have some ideas about that. I'm gonna tell you in a minute. Cheers. Okay, let's assemble this. You don't need this, but it makes it a little bit easier. Let's fill up some hot water. Hope we won't crack it. Okay, here's the hose. Just opening up the hose clamps so they will fit over the hose, and the other one. Okay, it's on. I'm gonna dip this in the hot water because it will make it all easier to push this on. Okay, next side. Okay, it's on. Let's tighten it up. Okay, let's check this one again. That should be enough. Let's flush this out. Woo! Attach this one here. Okay. As you see, that one is holding pressure. And you might get the idea at first. So the lines are flushed. Okay. So all the pieces are ready. Cheers to that. And this is dissolved. Gonna give it a quick stir. Anything is left there in the bottom. Okay. We take the sanitized PET bottle. We have our solution there, which could be any liquid you want to get into your beer. I'm gonna flush this out. I'm gonna flush it later on as well, but this is just so we don't introduce any oxygen into the gelatin solution. So, because there was some splashing there, and we want as little oxygen as possible in our beer. So, okay. Could flush that again. Put this on. And we're ready. And if you want, you can let it cool down now. It's not that hot anymore, but do what you want. It won't do anything to the beer to add this amount of hot liquid, even if it were boiling hot. Okay, let's get that into the beer. Okay guys, I'm down in the brew shed now, and right behind me we have the fermentosaurus. Let's check it out. Ta-da-da! So, here's the fermentosaurus. I just started cold crashing it. I started to set it to minus 1.5 degrees Celsius, but I decided to then change that and put it to 5 degrees because I was a little bit afraid of this method. So let's talk a little bit further on the idea here. We have a pressurized vessel in here, and that could be a keg as well. So it's not only for you who have the fermentosaurus, also for all you who are kegging or have any pressure barrels or whatsoever. 12 psi, just under 1 bar. So the idea is to build a higher pressure in the PET bottle than we have there, and hook this up to the pressurized vessel, and that should push the liquid from the more pressured barrel into the less pressured barrel. It's no more difficult than that. That should work. I'm going to show you how to purge one of these. Let's hook it up. Make sure that it's closed. As I unscrew, more CO2 goes in, and we purge. Okay. And you know, this could also be a hop tea or something else. You maybe want to try add some more hops to an already kegged beer. You could do a hop tea and add it that way. Or you wanted some more orange notes in it, something like that. Soak some orange zest in some alcohol, put it in there, and just push it into the beer. As I said, I was a little bit afraid of getting this too cold, because I have a beer line here and I didn't want that to freeze up. This is the pressure kit, which has a beer line and a floating ball. So today I'm gonna use the beer line to push this in. I could use the gas line, of course, but as we have this on top, I could use the beer line. If I were to do this with gelatin in a keg and I wanted the gelatin on top of the beer, I would of course use the gas line. If I wanted anything down low in the keg, I would use the beer line. And that's why I chose to use gas connectors, because they, as I said earlier, fit on both. Okay, let's do this. I would try to get this on camera, but here's before. So this is about 0.8 bar or 12 psi. So I was thinking I'm gonna put about 2 bars in this one. Hope it won't explode. That should be about 2 bars. Okay, so let's try this. Here's before. We should have 2 bars of pressure in here, around that anyway. So I will just try to push this on here. And the idea is, when I attach it on this side, you can do it the other way around also, of course. We'll put it on there, and then I will attach it here. Okay, let's see what happens. And the liquid is going over to the other side. Not all of it. What should we do about that? Add some more pressure, because we lost the pressure. It's no problem. Just pressurize it again. Maybe I could have done more pressure, but and I would think if this has been a keg with a just small headspace, it should have been much easier. But okay, that transferred the most of it. It's just a tad left, so let's pressurize this again. I could do this test with the keg if you want, see the difference, but as I said, that would be easier. Okay, all of the liquid are gone, and the beer line is still on. That was one of the things I was afraid of. If the beer in the beer line would have been frozen, the pressure from this method could have pushed the beer line off the tubing there. Okay, so that worked just fine. Now I can lower this. I'm gonna set this to minus 1.5 or something like that. I usually do. Let's go -1. Okay. So that was my first attempt with this method, and it worked great, and I did it on camera. Thank you. As you can see, it's crystal clear when I turn over the glass. There you have the gelatin effect. Cheers! Of course, you want to see the same procedure with the keg. This is a full keg which has been cooled down in the kegerator, and this is the same thing. Teaspoon of gelatin powder and some boiling water. I flushed the bottle before filling it up with a gelatin mixture, but we could do the same thing here as well. Spray some on the ports. Don't need to spray on the outport really, but yeah, you know me. So I'm gonna flush it. Let some okay, and let's build up some pressure here. So it's about 2 bar in here, and this time I will do it slightly differently. When I did this with the fermentosaurus, I didn't want to lose all of that CO2, because I really wanted to add some more CO2. So that's a huge headspace in there with a lot of CO2, so why waste it? But it's a really small headspace in the keg, so we could just go ahead and purge it. And this time I will place it on the inside. So that's the gas connection side. That means that gelatin solution will be pushed on top of the beer instead of in the bottom. So let's try this. And this time all of the liquid got sucked in. There's a drop left there. See if I can purge to get that as well. Yeah, that was what I was thinking. I could have done the same with the fermentosaurus, add it with the gas on and just purge it a little bit instead of what I did, filling it up 3 times. But as I said, I wanted some more CO2 than it really was in there. So the way to do it is actually just have more pressure in the tank you want to transfer from than in the other one, and when it equals, just purge vessel number 2 and all of the liquid will get transferred. We're gonna add some pressure on this one and place it back in the kegerator. Okay, that's how you do it with a keg. Works awesome. And here's a sample before gelatin of the beer in the keg. So it's very hazy, but a beautiful looking beer. So this is the kegged beer after a week in the keg. As I hope you can see now, it's crystal clear. Okay. Okay, let's do it once more. Here we have some gelatin water solution. I purged the bottle before I poured the solution in. Then I purged it some more to bubble out the air from the water and to purge all of the remaining air in the bottle. And I also purge the hose. The difference this time is that I'm gonna add it to the gas in to see how that will turn out. So we have an overpressure here. So we're just gonna hook that up and see what will happen. Yes, it worked. Awesome. Let's see if we can drain out all of it. Also can increase the pressure here by squeezing the bottle. Or we could just, I'm trying this one-handed again. If I put my knee on it as well, we could just perch here to drain up the last drops of gelatin. Okay, that worked great as well. Okay, so there you have it, guys. An easy way to put any kind of liquid you want into your keg or into, in this case, the fermentosaurus. Cheers, guys, and thanks for watching. Dr. Hans out.